Welcome back, Dynasty Fantasy Football players. Today we got a quick one for you, but it is going to be quality. This is how you build a Dynasty startup roster of mainly future value, okay? And whether this team is able to win in the first year or not is probably suspect. I don't expect this to be an ultimate contender out of the gate, but what I do expect is this team to have a sustained level of runway from a Dynasty perspective where I am building a squad for the future with excess draft capital, still some pieces that are going to keep me competitive in the short term, but really thinking about playing for 2027 or 2028. I do a lot of builds that are very competitive right out of the startup. Obviously, I want to win leagues just like you guys do, but I wanted to come on here and showcase the opportunity for you guys that are doing startups this offseason to simply build a roster that could stack you unimaginably well for the long term, but knowing you're probably punting year one. And this is a Dynasty startup we just did last week. So if you guys want the chance to join a Dynasty League startup with me in my awesome community, hop on over here to the Dynasty Price Check website. Yes, you're seeing our brand new Draft Den beta up and running where you can mock draft on our website with our own ADPs. This is an incredible tool, but to join one of the listener leagues, click this listener league tab in the middle, fill it out, and you will have a chance to play alongside me. But let's go ahead and kick it right off here, okay? I was drafting from the 104. This is a 12-team super flex tight end premium 1.75 with 2 starting tight end positions. So yes, the tight ends are going to be very heavily weighted in this format, and that is honestly becoming the norm in Dynasty. A lot of opportunity to play multiple tight ends, even if it's in a flex position, with the addition of premiums being so honestly prevalent now across the Dynasty landscape. But I was drafting from the 104 here. So as you can see, Drake May 1, Josh Allen 2, Jamar Chase 3. Not a lot of change there. At the 1-4, I decided to go Bijan Robinson, and I know here I am starting the video off by saying, oh, I'm playing for the future, yet I draft a running back first. Let's be completely frank, guys. I don't think Bijan is losing any value anytime soon. If anything, Stefanski is going to continue to raise his ceiling and give you an incredible level of production, not to mention he's going to be extended soon. This pick simply gave me a lot of flexibility, and if I do want to move him to a contender, I should be able to get an absolute haul for him. That being considered, I start with Bijan. Then we have JSN, Puka Nacua, Jaden Daniels, Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie 101. Now, kickers are going to signify rookies in this draft, per usual, guys. And no, we're not playing with kickers and defenses. But crazy enough, this is as early as I've seen the 101 go. And I think as we get closer and closer to rookie draft season, you are going to watch these kind of things happen, where Jeremiah Love is being touted as a generational prospect. And here he is going ahead of guys like Brock Bowers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Joe Burrow, CeeDee Lamb, all of the above. So you got the rookie 101 off the board at the 9 spot here. I've never seen them go in the first round, only in the second. So let me know in the comments, is this too crazy of a swing without even seeing the landing spot on Jeremiah Love? Or are you guys a true believer and willing to take him well above Genty here? But you can see, pretty crazy. He goes to the 1-9, Genty falls all the way to the 2-8. So I currently have them neck and neck, side by side in my Dynasty rankings. I don't think that it is this big of a swing, but let me know in the comments what you guys think about this one. But as you can see, as we mentioned, Bowers at the 10, Amon-Ra at 111, Joe Burrow, a little cutoff on your screen at the 112, CeeDee Lamb 201, Justin Jefferson 22, Trey McBride at the 23. There's MJ Walsh, my trusty partner here at Dynasty Price Check, loading up on his tight ends, followed by Lamar Jackson at the 2-4, Malik Neighbors at the 2-5, Devon Achane at the 2-6, Jonathan Taylor at the 2-7. This is as early as I've seen Jonathan Taylor go, but clearly we have a lot of players that are trying to win right out of the startup here and want the ultimate production instead of swinging on some of these rookies. Not always my strategy, but again, guys, it's not a bad thing to try to win right out of the startup. A lot of teams, maybe try to build a little bit of a long-term Dynasty roster like I did, and it opens the door for players like this. But Jonathan Taylor at the 2-7, Ashton Genty 2-8, James Cook 2-9, Amarian Hampton 2-10, Jalen Hurts 2-11, and Drake London at the 2-12. However, what I want to revisit here is at the 2-9, I did not take James Cook. I actually traded this pick away. So let's talk about my startup trades and why I did them. As you can see here, the first trade that I did was moving this pick away. Now, keep in mind, guys, I don't know why Sleeper has this glitch. If you're watching, make sure you fix this. But this is the 209. For some reason, on the recap, it says 204. I think it's because it can only count picks from the left side to right. That's a Sleeper glitch. As you can see, this is the 2-9 moving away along with a 27 third-round pick, so a future third that I sent, in order to receive an extra third and a fourth-round startup pick. And as you can see here, that will be the 3-7 and the 4-6 that I did receive. So I end up moving what was James Cook, and I ended up getting back, as you're going to see later, Tyler Warren and Trevor Lawrence. Now, this is personally a trade that I loved making based off the value I was able to return, especially in a Superflex format. But again, startup picks are that. You have to be modular in a startup, and you have to understand the value you're giving up. There is going to be people that want to move up and get their guy. If you have the chance to capitalize and build out a little bit more depth in a start 11 format like this one, like I alluded to, I decided to opt that route. Now, absolutely, did I miss kind of that last round of full premium running backs as Genty went off the board? Hampton was still there for me. Could have taken him, and I wouldn't have hated that deal. However, at the end of the day, I think in this tight end premium format, getting Lawrence and Tyler Warren in a package is still better value than just having Amari and Hampton. You can let me know in the comments if I fumbled the bag on that one and if you guys would have done it differently, but I liked making that trade. Now, again, this is a third round reversal, so let's jump back here. Drake London at the 212, followed by the 301 on this side being Justin Herbert, then Tedero and McMillan 3-2, 3-3 Tucker Kraft, and as you can see, MJ Walsh here really leaning into the tight end build. I know a lot of people aren't going to love that, but quite frankly, in this level of scoring format of a 1.75 tight end premium and a first down bonus included in that tight end format, this is quite the build and is going to prove to be very competitive. We'll be following along with Walsh's team as we go along here, but Pickens goes at the 3-4, followed by Nico Collins at the 3-5. I thought this was an interesting pick here, taking George Pickens over Nico Collins. I don't see it crazy often, but I'm not going to lie, they're probably about the same range of value right now. I have them pretty close to my rankings as well. Chris Olave at the 3-6, and then here I am at the 3-7, wanting to grab my first premium tight end here as Walsh has been hoarding them. He took Bowers, he took McBride, he took Kraft. I started to get nervous that if I waited too long, I was going to miss one of the young studs. So I took Tyler Warren here at the 3-7. Brock Purdy goes at the 3-8, and quite frankly, this was the time where I had to decide, am I going to go a quarterback and take Caleb Williams here, or Patrick Mahomes, or Jackson Dart, or T-Law, or Bo Nix, all of which crossed my mind. I won't lie to you guys, that and Garrett Wilson. But quite frankly, I do want to be playing for the future here. I told you I was going to take a little bit of a different approach on this build, and I really wanted to just lock up in a tight end premium where you start two tight ends. Probably the two youngest tight ends and best youngest tight ends outside of Bowers that you can have on your roster. So I decided to take Colston Loveland here and buy into the hype train. This is my first share of Colston Loveland across about 20 Dynasty leagues. So very excited about just kind of, diversifying my portfolio a bit there. Caleb Williams goes to the 3-10 here, followed by Garrett Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Amika Ibuka at 4-1, Harold Fannin at 4-2. And then here I am, got lucky. My guy was Jackson Dart. I honestly very much considered taking him in the third round at that Tyler Warren spot. But I was hoping and praying he'd kind of fall to me in this format, and he actually did, and so I snagged Dart at the 4-3. I think that's great value. I've seen Dart go as early as the mid-second round recently, so let me know if you guys think I got a steal here on Jackson Dart. I think his ceiling is potentially a first-round startup pick next offseason. Let me know if you guys disagree about that in the comments, but yes, I am a Dart believer. I was not last year going into the draft process. I will own that. I figured he was a little bit of a wild prospect that had a bit to be desired, especially in the accuracy department, but he's a great leader, and the opportunity for him to use those legs in the rushing side of fantasy football is simply undeniable. So I think Dart has a ton of room to grow as a dynasty asset. The next pick we have here was an interesting one with Dak Prescott. Clearly, this player wanted to move up and contend right now, and this is as early as I've seen Dak go in a startup in a while, so I thought that was an interesting pick, but, to each their own. Bo Nix goes next, and right here at the 4-6, I figured, got to grab my first quarterback. I don't want to move out of this range of young upside quarterbacks, and quite frankly, get my second quarterback after taking Dart here. I wanted to get another young cornerstone to build around. I didn't feel as good about the drop-off as you can see here. The next guys on the list were Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Cam Ward, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Those are all guys that I'm sure, will still be very fantasy productive. But just from a standpoint of extended runway, I think Lawrence was like the last one in this premium tier before a serious tier break. Ended up taking Lawrence here and double dipping on quarterback in my 2 fourth-round pick slots here. We got Chase Brown at the 4-7, the rookie 102 here at the 4-8. So pretty massive gap between the 1-9 and the 4-8 here. That's just showing you the absolute monster level of gap between Jeremiah Love and all the other prospects in this year's draft class. But you do have the 102 go off the board. Breece Hall at the 4-9, Saquon Barkley at the 4-10, the 103 at the 4-11, and then Ken Walker closing out the 4th round at the 4-12. Now we got Sam Laporta at the 5-1, Christian McCaffrey at the 5-2, Kyron Williams 5'3", and Kyle Pitts 5'4". We have Jordan Love at the 5'5", and Matt Stafford at the 5'6". This was very early again for Stafford, as early as I've seen him go, but coming off a reigning MVP season, I guess there is still some believers out there. Now, here's where it gets interesting, guys. As you can see, I actually have 2 extra picks here, a 5 and a 6. So let's see how I pulled that one off. So here is a trade that I did actually to get an extra 4th round pick here, which I forgot to cover earlier. So let's jump back. How did I get this 4-3? Well, we're going to figure it out. I went ahead and sent away my entire 2028 draft class. Figured it's far enough away out that if I want to tier off one of these premium assets in the meantime, I can still do so and recoup all of that 2028 value. Now, this is a strategy I like to use called the Dynasty rental strategy. If you guys have not already heard other creators talk about something similar, I will explain it briefly here, but simply understanding that you can go ahead and take a premium asset by sending away a lot of future draft capital, especially future draft capital like 2028, right? That's 3 cycles from now. We have the 2026 rookie draft coming up at the end of the month. Then we have the 2027 rookie draft next year, 2028 rookie draft, technically 3 cycles away. That gives me plenty of time in multiple off seasons to recoup that value. Meaning as long as I'm buying what I consider to be young insulated assets, that aren't going to lose astronomical amount of value, which is always hard to predict in Dynasty. Don't get me wrong. We've had the CJ Strouds of the world that are, the 103 in a Dynasty startup, and the next season they're in the 5th round. So you definitely are assuming a small amount of risk here, but I try to buy players that give me the opportunity to use their services for the next few years. And then if I do need to tier off them by the time 2028 comes around, I'm still going to be able to print at least a 1st, 2nd, and a 3rd round pick in return. And quite frankly, guys, that's what I did with Jackson Dart. I personally think that, over the next 2 years, especially with the way he's rushing and the level of upside with getting a new head coach like John Harbaugh in there, who's obviously a great mind and a stable organization runner, I think Jackson Dart is at bare minimum going to be worth still a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in 2028. And so I didn't mind sending away that future draft class in order to bring this pick in. Now, I also did have to give up a 10th round pick, but I got a 12th round pick kicked back to me. And quite frankly, when we're talking about more of the mid-range there, I feel confident in my ability to replace that level of value. Now, the next thing we did do, guys, is then the next thing I did was I had the 4-4, okay, as you can see, my pick here. And I had already gotten an extra 4th round pick, as we remember, from the 2nd round move down. So technically, at one point, I did have 3 picks in the 4th round. But I did end up moving this 4-4 after getting Jackson Dart. I felt comfortable being like, okay, I'm either going to end up with Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, Chase Brown, some of these premium running backs, or rookie 102. I decided I'm going to take the swing here. Let's see if he goes a different direction with it. And I did. I moved the 404 and a 17th round pick in order to get a 5th and a 6th round pick. And again, just another process tier down in order to build a bit more depth on my roster and stack my ability to build out some young guys, but also get some contending pieces. So as you can see here, I have an extra 5th and an extra 6th. So we're going to have 4 picks in these 5 and 6 round. Here, I decided to start stacking my rookies, like I said. So I'm going to take the 104 off the board here. Quite frankly, the reasoning behind this, guys, is just looking at the board. I never let startups determine what I distinguish as true value. And rookie picks were falling hard here in this draft already. Yes, we had a hot start with the massive rookie pick value in the 1st round going at the 1-9 for Jeremiah Love. But after that, we had rookie picks start to fall. And quite frankly, put me in the barrel right now, and Rashee Rice is not a guy I want on my team. And so comparatively to like Lad McConkey, Rashee Rice, Quinshon Judkins, I did opt to end up going the 104 here. So I take the 104. I debated Lad there, not going to lie, but I took the 104. At my next pick here, we see Rice go, then I'm up again. I decide I'm debating between Lad and Etienne here, and I'm not going to lie, guys. For the young build that I was trying to do, I definitely was considering Lad and just saying, okay, let's take a young wide receiver and probably going to hold value better than the running backs. But at the current time, I actually felt like I had enough young pieces since I hadn't taken a guy over the age of 25 so far in this draft that I was like, let me get some running back veterans in here. Some guys that still sign fresh extensions that aren't going to lose immediate dynasty value. And at least let me build out this roster. And post-draft, if I need to make some moves, I will, and sell these running backs because they're not going to lose any value between now and the start of the NFL season. And let's keep in mind, when you're doing startups in March, guys, you have time to make decisions. So I end up taking Etienne slightly over Lad. He goes the next pick after me. Let me know if you guys strongly disagree with that choice in the comments. I will be glad to hear it. But then we have Judkins, Henderson, Arondre Gadsden, Jake Ferguson, Cam Scatterbo go 1 pick before me, which unfortunately was going to be my next pick. But I end up going Javonte Williams here. Wanted to get another running back before, kind of this tier break exists before my next round of picks. So I end up taking Javonte Williams. Now I've got 2 running backs here to pair with Bijan. feel like I actually have a good start build here. And then at the next pick, Bucky Irving goes. And then here I am kind of debating between, do I take A.J. Brown? Do I take T. Higgins? Do I take Devonta Smith? Do I draft for need, or do I draft for value? And I always draft for value, guys. And so, no other rookie picks had been taken. I end up taking the 105 because I think there's still a solid tier of prospects in that range. So I take the 105 here. So now I own the 104 and the 105 already on my build. Feeling pretty good about it. At this point, you can go ahead and see we're going to wrap all the way back around. You got A.J. Brown, Josh Jacobs, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Derrick Henry, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Jared Goff, Cam Ward, Jameson Williams, Brenton Strange, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. And again, I do not have this 7th round pick. I believe I traded the 7th as a part of a different trade, and I did not have it for that reason. Actually, no. Okay, I did make 2 other trades here. So here's 2 other trades I did, and this one was before. So we haven't gotten here yet, but I did make it before I got there. I ended up sending an 11th, a 9th, and a 2nd, 4th, and 4th in the 2027 class in order to get an 8 and a 10 here. And quite frankly, all I wanted to do is move up rounds a little bit from the 9 and the 11 to get a little bit more build out on my roster depth here. And so yeah, I've moved back a lot. Now I'm going to move up a little bit. And again, it's all about just navigating the draft board. If you do as many startups as I do, you can kind of understand where those tier breaks exist. So we'll revisit this trade as I get to those picks. But the next trade that I did was I moved the 704, which was an interesting one, which actually at the time I did end up taking Rome Odunze. And again, sorry guys, the sleeper glitch. This is the 7-9, not the 7-4. It's 4 from the left. So I did pick Rome Odunze here. So as we wrapped around, sorry guys, catching you up here. Back to the 7-9. So I did take Rome Odunze. And this is where it's all about being modular, okay? Because I did take Rome Odunze. I did not trade this pick. I took Rome Odunze, and later in the draft, I was offered the 9-11 and a 2027 first-round pick for Rome. And I looked at the board at the time, and we're going a little out of order here, but the 9-11 is actually the 902 here. And at the time, there had only been one other rookie pick taken from the last one, so this was the 107. And I was looking at it and saying, is Rome, in my book right now, worth the 107 plus a 27 first-round pick? And quite frankly, he wasn't to me. I love Rome Odunze. If you've been watching the channel and you caught some of the videos last week, I think Rome Odunze is a great buy candidate right now. I think he's a phenomenal prospect. However, I think that 2 firsts for Rome, especially one being in that 27 class, was just enough to get me to move off of him. And quite frankly, this is where you can't get attached to players, and startup take the value you have. So I did end up making that move. And so as you can see, I selected Rome, but I ended up trading him away later for what it ended up being 2 first-round picks, the 107 and a 2027 first. So after that pick, we got Flowers, Kyler Murray, Tyler Shook, Jalen Waddle, the rookie 106 that I was alluding to, and then Dalton Kincaid. Next on the board, I can't believe CJ Stroud has fallen this far, guys. I was just talking about him being the 103 in Dynasty Superflex startups simply a year and a half ago. Now I picked him up at the 8-4. I know he's coming off a bad year, but quite frankly, I think this is disrespectful. He's one of the few quarterbacks that has actually made the playoffs every single year of his rookie contract. I think you are going to see CJ Stroud sign a massive extension here with the Texans, regardless of that end-of-year performance. And he's still such a young prospect that, yeah, he might not give you, an crazy level of ascension without the rushing ability, but he can still provide you with plenty of fantasy upside moving forward. So I get my third quarterback there, young piece, and at the 8-5, remember I had this extra 8th round pick for moving up. I take my first wide receiver, actually very first wide receiver, because I ended up trading Rome away with Alec Pierce here. And yes, he just signed a massive deal. I don't expect Alec Pierce to maybe get as many targets as some other people are thinking, but I do expect Alec Pierce to be warranted of a bigger role in that offense after getting paid so much money. So took the swing on Alec Pierce. I think his value will hold at least until the season starts in case I decide to shop him. We got RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift, Bryce Young, Daniel Jones, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, George Kittle, followed by DK Metcalf. There I am again, taking this 107 pick. Wan'Dale Robinson, DJ Moore, Chuba Hubbard. And again, guys, this is probably a good reminder for those of you out there that are still doing startup drafts before the rookie draft here coming up. Do not get caught up undervaluing these rookies. Like DJ Moore, Chuba Hubbard, Isaiah Likely, these guys cannot be worth more than the 108 rookie pick, guys. I won't accept it, okay? Like, I'm not paying the 108 for Isaiah Likely. I'm not paying the 108 for Chuba Hubbard. Like, I'm not paying the 108 for DJ Moore, okay? That's not happening. So let's keep in mind, take your rookie draft value, even if sometimes you have positional needs in a startup draft. But here we go. Tootin goes, Christian Watson, Michael Wilson. Now the rookie picks are starting to run. We have the 108, 109, and 110 go off the board. But again, as you guys remember, I had a 10th round pick right here, and I was trying to debate, what am I doing? Am I taking another rookie? I need to just start filling this roster out. But quite frankly, I couldn't get myself not to. I had to take this 110 because I wasn't taking Dallas Goedert, Mason Taylor, Cortland Sutton. I'm not taking any of those guys over the 110. So I let it go. Then we got Jalen Warren, Juwan Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, Michael Penix, another rookie pick here at the 111, Mark Andrews, Michael Pittman in the 112. And finally, the rookie draft picks are in the second round. Now, guys, the last few, I'm going to highlight these rounds here a little bit, but I'm not going to go too much deeper into this draft. As you guys have seen a lot of this before, I really wanted to highlight kind of how to move around and be modular. You know, we got Mike Evans go, Malik Willis, J.J. McCarthy, Ricky Pearsall, A.J. Barner, Gunnar Helm, and, J.K. Dobbins, Zach Charbonnet, Ramondre Stevenson. And here we are wrapping all the way back around to me at the 12-3. I go ahead and take Jaden Higgins here, and I take another second-round pick. At this point, guys, you're going to watch me take a lot of rookie picks because they just kept falling. So I took another second-round pick here. I end up stashing Chris Rodriguez the round after that. Figure he's a good fourth running back to have on the roster. I think he'll get some touch split in Jacksonville this year along with Tootin. I take another rookie pick. My wide receiver 3 of Torrey Horton. Yes, I went ultimate wide receiver punt here. Then I'm going to stack some quarterbacks in these middle to late rounds like I always like to do. Geno Smith, Anthony Richardson, potential upside plays. Now, as you can see, rookie picks are still falling, so I'm just going to smash a million rookie picks here in a row. More seconds. I'll take Devin Neal here to handcuff Travis Etienne, one of the backs I took earlier. Yes, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4 more rookie picks in a row, followed by Noah Fant, another rookie pick, and then just start stacking handcuff quarterbacks because in case quarterbacks go down, I always think those are the easiest to move in the wake of injuries. So I take Spencer Rattler, Trey Lance, Will Levis, and Jimmy Garoppolo to round it off. All to say, let's take a look at this team and how it ended up, guys, so you guys can see the final product and understand what it's like to employ a punt strategy. And so here you go. Jackson Dart, Bijan Robinson, Javonte Williams, Alec Pierce, Jaden Higgins, Torrey Horton. Yes, my wide receiver room is weak, but do not forget about the rookie picks I have here. I have Colson Loveland and Tyler Warren, followed by Travis Etienne, Chris Rodriguez, Trevor Lawrence, obviously some of those backup quarterbacks, CJ Stroud on the bench, as we remember. Tons of empty bench spots because if you guys can remember, I have the 104, 105, 107, 110. So 4 first-round picks in this year's draft. I have a 201, 204, 207 in the second round of this year's draft, so 3 seconds, followed by the 303, the 307, the 312, so 3 thirds, and again, 3 fourth-round picks in the 404, 405, and the 409. And I have 2 27 first-round picks. Yes, I did liquidate my entire 2028 class, and I do not have my seconds and thirds in 2027. However, 2 firsts is always better than having your ancillary later picks. Now, all being considered, I've already been getting offers left and right for guys like Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne. I will be exploring those deals as if I do end up deciding to lean entirely into the punt here based off the direction of the rookie draft in the end of the month here. I might end up just punting this year away, selling my running backs, and playing for 2027. That all being considered, though, this is how I feel like you execute a true punt right out of the gate here, or at least stack yourself with significant future value in Dynasty. Now, I am aware this team probably doesn't have what it takes to win year one, being that all my prospects are so young. However, if you are looking to employ this strategy in one of your startups and try a little bit of a different build, I suggest you follow the blueprint I had here, trading down, taking your value, smashing rookie picks when they are available on the board at a good range for your buying potential, and just not getting attached, guys. Of course, it would be nice to have Rome Odunze in this wide receiver room, but I do believe that 2 firsts did provide me more value than just simply taking the player. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this startup draft. How did I do? How do you rate this team? Do you agree that this is a good way to approach a startup draft if you are not trying to contend right out of the gate? I will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Trade Titans. Thank you so much for the continued support on the channel. Make sure you hop over to dynastypricecheck.com if you haven't already. Check out all these awesome tools we got for you, my player rankings that are available here. My awesome partner, MJ Walsh, has been grinding, working so hard to give you guys some of the best in the business tools. Go ahead and play Would You Rather like you've seen on on our Would You Rather Wednesday segments on this channel. And make sure you are subscribed, liking the video, commenting, and joining the Discord. Link is free in the description so that we can all talk trades all offseason. I've got a Trade Titans for you tomorrow, like I said, so be ready, and let's get it going as the rest of the week continues on. We got an awesome special guest coming to talk rookies with you at the end of the week, so make sure you are staying tuned. Take care. See you in the next one, guys.